Hello everyone! Ready to elevate your space? In this compilation video, we are crafting stylish DIY risers and trays that are simple, stunning, and perfect for any decor. And my ideas are not the only ones you will find today. Today's video is part of a collaboration with my friend Aurea from DIY with Aurea. So make sure that you head on over to her channel after you're done with my video and also see the amazing ideas she has prepared for you. Let's get started. I found this planter piece at my local thrift shop for just $3. I'm going to go ahead and remove all the flowers off of it. And we are going to clean it very well with some of this routine clean from Dollar Tree. Once everything was clean and dry, I'm going to take some of this linen white chalk paint from Rust-Oleum and give them 2 coats. Then I'm going to use this moss color from Waverly, and I'm going to be painting the edges or the top section of each one of the planters. And here are all 3 pieces once everything was nice and dry. I wanted to elevate the tray, so I'm going to take some of these apple pieces that I got from Hobby Lobby at 90% off, so I paid 25 cents for them. I'm going to take 4 of them, and I'm going to paint them using my Waverly Moss paint. Once all 4 were covered, I'm just going to put them to the side to dry. In the meantime, I'm going to take this peel and stick from Dollar Tree, and we will be covering the sides of each one of these planters. I started by peeling off the little piece that goes on the side there, as you see right there. Like the paper in the back is divided into 2 pieces. So I peeled off the smaller piece so I'm able to line everything correctly. Once I was sure that everything was straight, I'm going to remove some of the other side of the paper backing to expose the adhesive. And then I'm going to just make sure that everything is nice and straight, and we are going to adhere this to the side, making sure to remove any kind of bubbles that may be in the middle. Once I was happy with it, I'm going to just go ahead and trim off with my scissors that piece for that side. Then using my file, I'm going to file off the edges, being very careful not to peel off the paint in the process. I do not want to expose the red paint that's underneath of the white, so here when everything was thin enough, I just ripped up the rest of the paper. Then we are going to do the same thing to the bottom. I left the bottom blank, as you see right there, with no paint or anything. I have a plan for that later on. For now, we're going to remove the paper off of here, and we are going to repeat the process for all 4 sides. If you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to give it a nice big thumbs up. It lets YouTube know that you're enjoying the video, and it pushes it out to more viewers like you. I appreciate it so much. Thank you. For the second one here, I'm going to try something different. I'm going to try cutting off the excess paper with my X-Acto knife instead, to try to minimize the risk of having that red show on the sides. So that worked out pretty good as well. So the most important thing doing this is to have a nice sharp X-Acto knife blade, because I didn't, and I had some pieces that didn't really quite cut properly, so I had to end up sanding that down instead. So either way, if you do use the X-Acto knife, make sure it is sharp. If you don't, just be very careful in the way that you are sanding off the excess. And here is the planter completely covered. I am going to cover up that bottom. So I'm going to use some of this cork sticker sheet from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to press it on my sticky side, and I'm going to cut off the excess using my scissors. At first, I used my X-Acto knife, but due to the bumpiness of the material, it came up a little bit uneven and rough. So it is much better to use the scissors so you have a cleaner cut. And here it is. I repeated this process 3 times. Now we're going to add the feet to a little riser. First, I took my needle nose pliers and removed the sticks off of the middle, so this will sit flat onto the surface. And I added a combination of Fix All and hot glue to that section. and added each one to each corner of the riser. Now it's time to add some floral foam to the bottom of each one of the planters. I just added a generous amount of hot glue to the bottom and added a piece of that floral foam right in the bottom. This is what I ended up with. Then I'm going to take some of this boxwood that I got from Walmart and add it into each one of the planters. And this is what we ended up with. But we are not done yet. It is time to cover up that foam. So I will be taking some of this Spanish moss from Dollar Tree and added it into the planters, and now this is complete. Let me know what you think. For the next inspiration today, I'm going to be using this shadow box that I got from a garage sale for $1. The first thing that I did is take some of these wooden cups that I got from my local thrift shop for $1. I'm going to use 4 of those, and they're going to be the legs to this piece. I'm going to glue them together using a combination of wood glue and wood hot glue. If you're still with me this far into the video, I want to let you know how much I appreciate you. The time that you spend with me is truly valued. Thank you so much. If you are one of those people that are still with me, leave me a thumbs up emoji. I truly appreciate you. All right, now that our pieces are nicely attached, we are clear to continue. So I'm going to give this 2 coats with my white linen white chalk paint from Rust-Oleum. Once they're dried, it is time for us to go to the next step. We are going to be adding this peel and stick from Dollar Tree. This is brand new this year. And here I'm just trying to gauge exactly how much I'm going to use. And I'm going to be bending the edges to use that as a template of where to cut my pieces so I'm able to insert it to the bottom of this tray. Then, using those indentations as a guide, I'm going to use a ruler to mark off the sections so I know exactly where to cut. Then I cut off the section, trying to go directly above that line so it will not show in my finished product. Now comes the moment of truth. Is it going to fit? And not quite, but we are going to work with it. So what I did is just trim off a little piece there off the edge in which it was folding a little, but doing this helped me know exactly how much to cut. So I was able to do that using that indentation as well. Now we are going to peel that section off, and we're going to start adhering this to the bottom of the tray. I am going to slowly press down onto the bottom, making sure that everything is remaining nice and straight as I'm removing slowly the back end of the peel and stick. And I remove the other section of the peel and stick back end using the same process. There was an area that was still a little bit overlapping onto the sides of the tray, but that's no problem. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and run it right there onto that crease until I cut off that excess, and then I'm going to just remove it very carefully using the edge of my X-Acto knife and just pulling it right off. Once that excess was done, we are done with this. I took it outside, sealed it, and this is done. Let me know what you think. We're going to be using two of these cotton balls from the Dollar Tree, 2 of these beads from the Dollar Tree, and 2 packages of the dice pieces as well. I painted both of these pieces of bamboo with my Black & Decker paint and primer. I just gave it 1 coat, just making sure to keep the streaks nice and straight. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint also 4 of these dice wood pieces. Once those pieces dried, I'm going to take the wooden beads and assemble them in one of the bamboo pieces or the cutting boards, for lack of a better word. For this, I just, placing them first because I want to make sure that the spacing is right and that all the beads are in the same, they look the same and everything is going to fit nicely before I glue anything down. So once I have it there like that, now I'm going to come in one by one. I'm going to just use some wood hot glue and I'm going to glue these here. You can also use wood glue if you want to have them set for a while, or you can use, gel super glue also, that will work for this. I just wanted to do with this just to make it a little bit quicker and to have that instant hold at the same time. As I was gluing them on, I was making sure that I was not making the other ones be out of place, just to make sure that everything was nice and straight and that everything will be looking nicely at the end of this project. Now that everything was glued into the one, now I'm applying the hot wood glue to all of the beads here. And once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and place the other bamboo cover right on top of that. And there it is, nicely sandwiched. I love the way it came out. Now it's time to give it some feet. So I took some more of that wood hot glue and I'm going to place it on right there, letting the corners be my guide of where exactly I will be placing each one of these cubes. Friends, if you enjoyed this content, I'm going to ask you to consider subscribing. It is free and it means the world to me. And hit that notification bell so you're also notified next time I upload a next video. Once all 4 feet are positioned correctly, I just make sure that I have no little glue webs all over the place, clean everything back up. And just like that, my friends, this piece is pretty much done. This is how it's looking so far. Look at that, so stinking cute. I love that contrast. Let me know what you think. Use this little planter. I think it's a planter, I'm not sure. I got it from the thrift shop and I painted it using this Rust-Oleum spray paint, giving it 2 coats. And then I took some of these wooden dice that look like dice to me from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to use 2 packs. I'm actually going to use 4 pieces, but they come in 3 packs. So I just use like 1 of a quarter, I guess, and 1 of a third. Then I'm going to go ahead and paint it using my white Black & Decker paint and primer. Once that dry, we are going to get ready to put them onto that piece, but I forgot to paint the back. So I painted the back, let it dry, and then we're going to glue these to the back of this planter. I just use a combination of wood glue and wood hot glue to attach them. Friends, if you're enjoying this video so far, I'm going to ask you to please give me a thumbs up, like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is all free and it means the world to me. Here, as I'm positioning these little feet onto this piece, I'm just using the edges as a guide as how far into the piece I'm going to put them to have a uniform placement of each one of the legs. And this is how it's looking so far, but we're going to do a little bit extra. I'm going to take some of that same paint I used for the previous DIY, and we are going to do the same concept, just putting a little bit of paint on the popsicle stick, removing any excess, and we're just going to rub it on the little raised surfaces here. This planter has little flowers on it, and I want that to be a focal point. I use this technique on every single flower within this planter. I was really debating whether or not I wanted to make these yellow instead, but I really like the black and white simplicity and the clean look. Now we are going to take some of this contact paper from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to just lay it out, and I'm going to put the planter on it like this, and just take a pencil and trace around it, just so I have a rough idea of how big I need to cut this in. This is so I can use it as an insert to the planter. It was quite uncomfortable to try to cut the circle on here, so just cut it in a square so it will be easier for me to cut it with the smaller piece. I still had a lot of curling, so I'm just going to go ahead and turn the paper around and like wrap it up on the opposite side just to have it flat, so it will be easier for me to go ahead and cut and see the lines on here. I do want to cut a little bit smaller, like inside of those lines, because this is just framing the outside, but it was not good enough. So what I did is I folded it in half and then I trimmed alongside about a little 1/4 of an inch off more, and it still wasn't small enough. I just put it in, I creased it, and now I'm cutting on the indentation that the creases left, so I'm able to actually have a perfect fit for this. Once I was comfortable with the fit, I just took the contact paper and I'm going to go ahead and take the back end off of a small section, and I'm going to place it in the inside and making sure that all the edges are nice and neat, and then I'm going to go ahead and flatten it in and remove any bubbles. There were a couple edges that were showing, so I wanted to position a little bit better, and it was easy to do that with this paper. It comes up pretty easy, and I just repositioned it, making sure that there was no spaces and it was in the center, and then repeated the process and smoothed it out and took all the bubbles out. Now that is it. And guys, this piece is complete. Let me know how you like it. I love this thing. I think I'm gonna just keep it as a place to like maybe put your wallet and your keys when you get home, something like that. Let me know how you like it. For this project, we're gonna be using 2 bowls from Dollar Tree, that plate, and also some beads as well. The first thing that I did was take some of this stretchy cord from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to thread 24 beads onto it. And this is how it's looking like so far. Then I'm going to take the 2 balls and I'm going to glue them together using some E6000. I'm just going to put them against each other, butt to butt. This is my inspiration piece from Lisa & Company. Alright, so the next day, once that dried, I took the beads and I'm going to wrap it around that area in which I glued the 2 balls together, and using that stretchy cord, I'm going to go ahead and figure out exactly where I need to tie it. And here I had enough beads, so I had to take one off here. That's how I ended up with 24. I had 25 originally. And you see there how I'm tying it together, making sure that everything fits correctly. Now that I'm happy with how it's going to be fitting on there, I am going to tie the 2 ends tightly, making sure that the beads are tight. And then I'm going to add some E6000 to the edges that the beads will be touching. So here I just loop that edge through that hole in the nut twice to make sure it doesn't slip, and I made it as tight as possible so it will hug the balls, as you see right here, just making sure that it holds in place. So that way, now that I'm happy with it, I'm going to cut the excess right there, and I'm going to take some E6000 and I'm going to add it in all those sections that the beads will be touching the balls. And I did this until I went all the way around the entire section of the balls. Friends, I want to take a quick moment to say thank you so much for clicking on my video. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. Now it's time to attach the plate to the top. So in order to do that, I first remove the sticker that's on the back. Using my heat gun, I just heat it up until the glue was nice and soft, and then we just remove the sticker. I found it helpful to use my crooked spatula. Once again, I took my E6000 and I'm going to add it to the other lip of the top ball all the way around until I have every surface covered, and then I'm going to place the plate right on top of it, and I'm going to let that sit overnight as well. Next day, I embellished it with some candles and some greenery from Dollar Tree, and look how pretty that is. Let me know what you think. For our next inspiration, I'm going to be using these plates that came new from Dollar Tree. I got the bowl and the plate. And I'm going to do pretty much the same thing that I did for the previous DIY. I'm going to go ahead and remove my tags once again. Make sure you do this step. I have done it before that I didn't do it. And we're going to remove it from that one as well. And again, employing some E6000, I'm going to glue the bowl bottom to the plates bottom. And this DIY was also inspired by Liz Fenwick DIY. Here I'm just spinning it around to make sure that the distance between all sides are the same, because I didn't measure, and that was it. I go ahead and I just let it sit overnight, and this is perfect because you can use it as a serving tray because it is food safe. Here it is, all displayed. Don't forget to give me your thoughts in the comment. I will be using 2 of these pizza pans from the Dollar Tree. I take some of my Rust-Oleum linen white and their chalk paint, and I give them 2 nice coats. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to put them to the side and stain my wood pieces. This is some little Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree, and this beads also from the Dollar Tree. So the first thing I do is measure the amount of beads that I will need to completely cover the end of my pizza pan there, and I cut off any excess that I might have. And make sure that both ends are nicely tight and tied in so the beads do not come apart. And then I take a little Ziploc baggie and add some of my steel color Waverly chalk paint into the mixture, but I make sure to water it down a little bit so it's more of a stain more than instead of a paint. Make sure that I mix it all together, and I'm also going to add some of my Waverly antique wax as well to the same mixture, because I wanted to have like this feeling of barnwood or weathered wood that's been outside. So I always notice it has like a tint of gray and brown, so I'm trying to achieve that effect there. And I just water it down so it's easier for the beads to absorb it. And I find it easier to be this way by doing it in the little Ziploc baggie. So I added my beads first, make sure that my bag was sealed properly, and I'm shaking it to make sure to saturate all of the beads. I took it out and laid it out to dry, and now I'm going to add 4 of my little Christmas trees here because I want to have them match. I want them to be the same color. So I added my 4 little Christmas trees there and did the same process, just shaking and rubbing until they are completely covered with the mixture. So here I put the pizza pan towards the bottom, and actually this step was supposed to not be done until the end, but I was so excited to put feet on this apparently. But if you're doing this, I recommend doing this step last after you put all the other things together first. But for some reason I did it first, so anyway. And here what I did, I just put a little dab of 6000 and a dab of hot glue and attached it and put it to the side while I worked on the rest of the DIY here. So what I did, I put my pizza pan face down. I added E6000 on that little ridge in between the bottom of the pan and the little edge there. And I added my beads close to each other with the hole facing the pizza pan. I did that all along the entire pizza pan, because when I was done, what I did was add hot glue to the space in between the bottom of the pizza pan and the bead in the inside. And in order to do this the best, you will need to hold the beads in place as you're applying the glue to avoid them running away from your pan. I make sure I protected all the surfaces. And now I am adding E6000 to the one where I put the feet and putting the other one right on top of it. And I'm using these clamps that I got during summertime. They're really bland clamps, but I think they were perfect for this DIY. So just to help this sit and dry overnight, because I put only E6000, I did not put any hot glue. I wanted this to last for a while, so I did that. And once I was done, this is what my little riser looked like. I really love the contrast of the 2 colors, the white and the antique or like barnwood-like beads. And I put this little lantern that I made in a previous DIY on it, and it looks gorgeous. I am so satisfied with this, guys. It's awesome. I hope you enjoyed this DIY, and I hope it was helpful to you. Please don't forget to subscribe. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram. Got this wood crate from Dollar Tree from the plus section for $3. I took my Black & Decker white paint and primer, painted it with 3 coats. Then I'm taking this stencil from Temu, and it didn't quite fit, guys, but I didn't want to cut it, so I just did the best to tape it down as flat as possible. Just adding extra tape, making sure everything is nice and straight until I was able to lay it down pretty flat. Now that my stencil is flat, I'm coming in with some of that ink color from Waverly and a dauber, and I'm going to just bounce the dauber, not completely saturated with paint, with just as little as possible, and I just repeated that throughout the entire stencil. And before the paint dried, is stencil reveal time. Here we go. Let's see how good this came out. Oh, guys, look how cute. I love the way it came out. So then I came in with some of that same ink paint and go ahead and fill in those sections that the stencil left blank, just to complete my letters. I like that to look, nice and finished. Once I was satisfied, I'm taking some of this twine from Dollar Tree, is black and white, and I threaded into 2 pieces, and I'm going to be wrapping them around the entire section there at the top of each handle. Once I got to the end of wrapping, I just created 1 loop and knotted it, and then added a tiny bit of hot glue and cut off the rest. I did that with both sides. Now I'm going to take a little chippy brush with a little bit of black paint, the same ink. You see me there, I'm distressing the entire piece to my heart's content. Here you can either leave it as it was in the beginning, not distress, or if you like distressing, go ahead and do the same. Or if this is too little distress for you, go happy, guys, do whatever you like. I like a light distressing, and this came out perfect in my eyes. Look at that so far, guys. We are done. Look at that. Oh, isn't that cute? Let me know what you guys think. For this, I used 2 pizza pans from Dollar Tree, and I'm painting them using the Kills chalk paint in the navy, as you see there. And I'm going to completely cover the front of this piece with it. I gave it a total of 3 coats. Once this was completely dry, I took some of these beads from Dollar Tree, and I'm using a combination of E6000 and hot glue to attach this to the back rim of the first pizza pan. This is the one that I painted the front of. I worked in small sections to avoid that the hot glue will dry too quickly, so I added first my E6000, then my hot glue, and I quickly placed my beads. Now I'm adding E6000 on top of the entire surface of all the beads once I was done applying them to the first pizza pan, and then I'm going to come in and add some hot glue in a couple sections as well, just so I have that instant hold. And I'm then going to have this sit aside, put a little bit of weight over it. I just put my paint over it and placed it there and left it overnight. In the meantime, I am painting 4 of these SKUs from Dollar Tree with this flamenco red from Apple Barrel. And once the paint, that everything dried the next day, I am gluing this on using some hot glue. You can also use E6000, but I wanted this to be done pretty quickly, so I added hot glue for now. But later on, I'll probably go back in with some E6000 to make sure that this stays permanent. This is wood hot glue that I used. Then I flipped it to the front, and I'm going to add some stars. I'm going to use this stencil that I created. I actually created this also for another DIY you'll see at the end, but I'm using this part right here, created a stencil using removable vinyl. I'm placing it down, making sure that it's nice and flat, and I'm going to add some of that flamenco red paint to the stars. My idea was to place red on the middle section only and white on the rest, but somehow I forgot about that at this moment, and I put red in every single star. But you'll see later on how I fixed that.
but you can, this is completely personal preference. You can have them all white, all red, or a combination of the different colors. It's completely up to you. So here's when I realized that I painted the wrong color. So I'm going back in top of the red with the white, which was my intention from the get-go, to put white on the first and last row of these stars and leave the middle red. So here's how I fixed that. Now it's reveal time. You see here, I'm trying to remove the stencil. It was coming out nicely, and then it wasn't. Look at that part. But it's fine. We're going to go ahead and let it dry, and we're going to fix it. This look is also cool. If you like that whole worn, worn surface kind of thing, that's fine. You can use that. I was going for worn, but not as worn. So I went back in with a small paintbrush, and I can still see where the rest of the star would have been. And I just came in and painted it over and fixed it as best as I could. And it actually came out pretty cute. So now that it's all dry, I'm going to come in with some Mod Podge. This is dishwasher safe and food safe Mod Podge. It's non-toxic. I use one of these bamboo cutting boards from the Dollar Tree, from the Dollar Tree Plus section. I painted it white with 3 coats of my Black & Decker paint and primer. Then I took 4 of these like dice pieces from the Dollar Tree. It comes in packs of 3. I use one pack, full pack, and then one of another. And I'm painting it with a navy blue color that I've been using for my previous DIYs. I just make sure to paint completely all of the sides. I just left one side open and to glue it later on. Then I realized that the cutting board was actually bleedy. You can see yellowing. So I came back in with a primer from Kilts and a sealer to try to remediate that issue. Then I painted it again with another coat of my paint and primer, and now I am taping it in sections using some regular masking tape from Dollar Tree. So I'm using the tape to use as a spacer as well. I wanted my flag that I'm creating here. This is a flag that I'm making, by the way. And I wanted it to start with the red. So that's why you see me, skipping it that way. And I did this until I got completely to the bottom of the entire cutting board. Once I got down to the third piece of tape, I started doing it the entire length of the cutting board. And there you see me actually, I did right there on the third one, and then I'm cutting off a section on the very left hand side there, and then I taped it all the way to the bottom. And now I'm going to come in with my flamingo red from Apple Barrel and gave a total of 3 coats to every single one of the lines right here until I get to the very bottom, but making sure to leave that square out of it. There you go, how it's looking so far. Now it's time for reveal. I love this part, guys. I'm removing the tape. It wasn't perfect, but it was beautiful. So I kept it as it was. I didn't touch it up or nothing. I liked actually how rustic, it kind of gave it a little rustic feel, the little bleed. So I left it as is. I am drying up the paint completely, and then I'm going to come in with some weathered masking tape, and I'm going to section off these pieces here so I'm able to place the stars on there. This is the stars that came with the stencil that I did for the previous DIY. I'm placing it down on there over the white, making sure that they stay nice and flat underneath. I just used that little ruler to make sure that this was completely sealed in to the wood. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove that paper off, making sure to have the stars stay put in place. It was a little bit tricky, not so much in this part right here. I'm just making sure that the top was nicely placed, and then I pulled it out, and for some reason a star decided to leave for a moment there, but I just placed it right back down. And now I'm coming back in with the same navy chalk paint that I used previously, and I am going to use my dabber there and completely dab this whole section, and just make sure to have the paint not too much on there so it doesn't have any bleeds. And I did like 2 coats of paint over this. I sped up the process with my heat gun, and then I'm going to go ahead and remove those little stickers I put down in the beginning. And look how cute, guys. I don't know, I find this process to be so satisfying to just uncover a bleed free surface after you do stenciling or reverse stenciling in this case right here. So I'm leaving this in because I'm really enjoying looking at it. I hope you guys do as well. This is so satisfying. Anyway, so once I got this done, you see there that it came out nice. I just had a little bit of bleed, so I just scratched it off, and we're removing the tape here. We didn't have no bleed there either. Awesome. And now we are going to give them feet. So remember those 4 cubes that we did before? We are going to add it to the bottom of this. So I just added a combination of regular wood glue and wood hot glue to attach these to the 4 corners of the bottom of that cutting board. If you see there, it is painted. I wanted it to be completed and nicely finished, so I also painted the bottom section. And ta-da! Look how cute that looks. I did have a little bit of bleed of the white there. I touched it up. And now we are going to seal everything with some dishwasher safe and non-toxic Mod Podge. And that's it. We are done. Here is the final reveal. I hope you love these. Let me know which one is your favorite, because you know I love to know that. These are perfect for your 4th of July barbecues. You can have them up in your table, set up in your tables, on your decks. They are awesome. I sure will be using mine. My friends, as always, thank you so much for watching. Be blessed, be a blessing, and craft responsibly.